Never focus on more than 4 or 5 things at a time. Never have a list which is longer than 4 or 5 things to do. Easier said than done. Quite early in my career, I had an opportunity to deal with Rupert Murdoch. I worked for Richard Branson. I even had a brush with Robert Maxwell. Entrepreneurs who were extremely successful. And I noted just were blinkered. They had just 1 or 2, well, 4 or 5 perhaps, things that they wanted to get done and see done. You really got to believe it somehow. And there can't be a list of 6, 7 to 15 existing somewhere in the back of your head. You really have to believe that there are only 4 or 5 things that you have to be done. Now, for someone who is professionally or academically trained, this is actually quite tough to do. You really got to discipline yourself and learn how to do it. Because, as I say, it's not just a matter of picking 4 or 5 things out of a long list. It's got to be flexible. Don't get fixated on the 4 or 5. It's just fascinating, for instance, with Richard Branson, watching the way in which something would be a high priority for him. Like one of the 4 or 5 things he was trying to do. The process whereby it drifted out of that 4 or 5. First thing that would happen would be, he would never say, I am now getting rid of number 3 and introducing a new number 3. He gradually would notice that he was spending a lot less time on number 3. And then he stopped talking about it. And then a little while later, he genuinely wouldn't remember that it was ever a priority, and something else would have slipped in. I just cannot emphasize how important this one is. Whether it's in your negotiation with colleagues or subordinates about their objectives or what it is they're trying to achieve, or whether it's about the way in which you allocate your own time. I find it the most useful way of time management. I mean, my time management technique is to crystallize what the 4 or 5 things I'm meant to be doing are, and just work on them. And if the other things aren't picked up, well, they aren't picked up. Very rarely to your disadvantage, I may say.